Hey everybody, what I've got here is a Ukrainian Armed Forces 24-hour combat ration, and we're going to check it out right now on Kit Bashed Survival. Now I hope this thing is still in good shape and everything is intact inside, because I ordered this a while ago and then I ended up getting a refund and the order was canceled because it got lost in the mail. And then lo and behold, about 3 months after that, it showed up. So hopefully everything's in good shape inside. I think it's still good. It looks like the expiration date is April of 2022, if I'm reading that correctly. And I'm filming this in February of 2022, so hopefully everything's still in good shape and good to eat. So right here it says Ukrainian Armed Forces, and then down here I believe it says something to the effect that it's a daily field ration or something like that. Right here it says not for sale. Now I believe there are 3 bags in here, one for breakfast, one for lunch, and one for dinner, but we'll find out right now. All right. So we got this bag, which looks like an FRH, flameless ration heater. Maybe a couple of them. Bag. That bag. And this one. All right, thanks to Google Translate, I've now got these in the proper order. So on the left, this is the breakfast ration. In the middle, we've got the lunch ration. And then over here on the right is the dinner or evening ration. Now on each packet, they've got a list of the stuff that could be inside. I don't think this is a list of what necessarily is inside, because, for example, they've got 5 or 6 different entrees listed here. I don't think there are 5 entrees in here. So I think what they've done is listed what could possibly be in here and then given you all the info over here. So I could translate this list, but it's probably easier to just crack these things open and see what's inside. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the breakfast ration. Alright, here it all is, and with the help of Google Translate, I now know what each item is exactly. So here we've got a napkin and a spoon, then we've got a wet wipe, coffee, sugar, salt, chewing gum, dark chocolate, biscuits, raisins, and then the main course, which is a rice porridge with chicken. Now, for the first couple combat rations that I reviewed, I didn't put the food on a tray, I just had it on the table, which was fine, but it did make a little bit of a mess on the table, which was a pain to clean up. And so this time, I'm going to try using a tray. Now again, I could use a tray like this, but I think that would be too much of a ripoff of another channel that we all know and love. So I'm going to use a different type of tray. One of these just plain plastic trays, just for the sake of keeping mess off the table. Now, I got a variety pack of these, so I've got blue and brown, orange, red, green, and black. So for today, we'll use the black one just to keep it discreet and in the background. All right, there we go. And I've got my electric kettle over here to heat up some water. Here's the water. And here's a coffee cup. And then we've got our FRHs. There's 3 of them in here. I'm guessing 1 for each meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Go ahead and take those out. And we'll just use 1 to heat up this porridge. Hopefully I'll do this right. Some crazy powder. Ew, that's gross. It's like this powder. And I am following the instructions. It says to take it out of that bag. I don't know what this powder is made of, but it's probably not good for you. Now, just so you know, there are 3 ways you can heat this up. You don't have to use the FRH. In fact, using the FRH is the 3rd option. The first option is to submerge it in boiling water for a few minutes. The second option is to take it out of this bag and microwave it, oddly enough. And then the 3rd option is to use the FRH. And we'll use the FRH just because it's more fun for the video. So we'll go ahead and add some water. This bag might have a hole in it. Ew, it's making a mess. I'm going to get a larger Ziploc bag to put this in. I'll lean it up against here for now. There we go. I've never seen a FRH that was so messy. Okay, it is starting to get warm. That's good. And while that's heating up, we'll make some coffee. And on the instructions, it says to leave it for about 15 to 20 minutes. And I don't know if you can hear it on the camera, but it is starting to bubble up. Oh yeah, that's getting nice and hot. See if I can find a pseudo rock to lean this up against. There we go. Yeah, look at that steam coming out. That thing is cooking. A little bit of a rough start there with the FRH, or I should say a little bit of a messy start, but it's going good now. Look at all that steam. One thing I will say about those FRHs is that the US military FRHs, in my experience, they don't get quite as hot as the foreign ones, but they're very easy to use. And sometimes these foreign ones are a little trickier to use, but they get super hot. For all I know, there's probably some stupid law here in the US that regulates how hot the FRH can get. All right. It smells good. Now they've got sugar. I'm not going to add sugar because I don't like sugar in my coffee, but you could if you wanted to. I guess you could add salt if you wanted to as well. Although I have a feeling the salt's going to come in handy with this porridge. All right, we'll let that cool down for a minute. Meanwhile, we can try these raisins. It's kind of funny. I chose to use a tray this time to avoid making a mess, and there was a mess on my table anyway because that FRH. So there are the raisins. It's like a raisin blob. Yeah, they're raisins. I mean, really not much to say about them. They're your average raisins. Not bad. Good taste. If you like raisins. But there it is. Let's give it a try. It's hot, but it's good. Now, I am not an avid coffee drinker. I am more of an energy drink kind of person, Red Bull and stuff like that. Fortunately, my girlfriend is an avid coffee drinker, so let's get her opinion on this coffee. All right, she's going to have a sip and let us know what she thinks. She drinks a lot of coffee, like 6 cups a day. It's hot.
It's not really strong, but it has a nice flavor. It's good. It's pretty mild. Yeah.
Yeah. Drinkable though?
Drinkable, definitely.
Yes. And she likes her coffee black, so she is serious about coffee.
Mm. Yeah, this would pass. Yeah.
Well, there we go.
It's not bad. It's not great, but it's, you know. Yeah, if this were the only option, because you're in the middle of nowhere, I would be very grateful to have this coffee.
All right, and I think the main entree is finished now. Yeah, this FRH powder gets all over everything. I don't know if they're like this when they come out fresh from the factory in the Ukraine, but boy, these things are a giant mess. All right, there it is. Let me give it a whiff. Ugh. That is, oh my God. It looks like vomit, I'm going to be honest. Now, because this is more like a porridge than a stew or anything, I'm going to use a bowl or a cup. Ugh. That just does not smell appetizing. Give it a taste. I'm probably going to get sick from this. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, that is nasty. I don't know if it's like this when it comes out of the factory in Ukraine. I mean, according to the date, it's still good. The expiration date is later this year in 2022. Ugh, I can't take another bite of that. It smells and looks like vomit. Oh, God. The smell is just revolting. Yeah, I can't do that. Sorry, folks. Let's try the biscuits and the chocolate. I'm sure these biscuits are like all those sort of hardtack biscuits that come out of those Russian-influenced countries. There it is. It's good. It's just your basic wheat biscuit. It'd probably be, you know, if you liked the porridge, you could probably break this up and put it in the porridge. That porridge is just revolting. I'm sorry. And I'm, you know, I like to experiment with food. There's not a lot of stuff that I won't eat. I'm not eating any more of that. One taste was enough. Hopefully lunch and dinner will be better. All right, let's try the chocolate. There it is. Dark chocolate. Mmm. Very good. Excellent. Mmm. That's good chocolate. Mmm. Yeah, not bad at all. Yeah, chocolate's great. Biscuits are fine. Raisins are great. Coffee's good. Rice porridge with chicken. I'll pass. All right, so that does it for the breakfast portion of this 24-hour ration. So the coffee is pretty good. And actually, my girlfriend came back in here a few minutes after she tasted it and had second thoughts and said, you know, for instant coffee, that was actually really good.
Yeah, I was waiting around to come back and finish the coffee. It was really good.
She came back in to finish the coffee, folks. So yeah, it's pretty good. She had to marinate on it for a while.
Yeah.
And she's not usually a fan of instant coffee.
Mm-mm.
So there you go. Bad porridge, good coffee. Well, she's also discovered that the chocolate pairs wonderfully with the coffee, right?
Oh, yeah. A little chocolate. A little coffee.
But that rice porridge with chicken, yeah. It's disgusting. It's revolting. Now, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's a lot better when it's fresh from the factory, but yeah, you know, it's been in shipping for a while and it expires later this year. It still should be good, but yeah, it is nasty. There's no way I could finish that. All right, it's been a few hours, so let's check out the lunch portion. Hopefully the main entree will be better than the main entree in the breakfast portion. And I want to emphasize that, you know, it could have been just me that didn't like that. My girlfriend took a whiff and she said it didn't smell so bad, but for me, I just couldn't stomach it. But again, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and maybe I just got something that was bad or had gone bad, or maybe it was me. All right, so we've got our napkin and spoon here, as well as the wet nap. Then we've got some English breakfast tea, chewing gum, salt and pepper, sugar, cherry jam. We've got some rye bread crisps, biscuits like before, and then we've got two entrees, it looks like. This is a soup, and the translation says it's a borscht with meat and beef broth. And then we've got this one, which is pork, potatoes, and other vegetables, kind of like a stew, I guess. And just like the breakfast portion, these things should still be good because the expiration date on the borscht here is October 1st, 2022, and the expiration date on the pork and potatoes is September 14th, 2022, and I'm filming this in February of 2022. So because the FRH made such a mess during breakfast with all that powder going everywhere, I'm going to switch it up a bit. Now, as I said, there are 3 options for heating these things up listed on each packet. Number 3 is the FRH. Number 1 is submersing these things in boiling water for about 3 minutes. So we'll try that for the lunch portion. And while these things are sitting in the boiling water, we'll go ahead and make our tea as well. I'm going to set one of these in here. This might be a little too small for these bags, but I think it'll work. Kind of broken up, as you might expect, traveling overseas and all that. There it is. It's okay. I mean, it's exactly what it looks like. You know, dry, crisp bread. Like those crisp breads they might buy in the store. There's that grape jelly. Or cherry jam. Let's see what this tastes like. There it is. That is really good. I like that. Now, I don't know if you're supposed to put the grape or the cherry jam on this bread, but that's what I'm going to do. That's good. You could put it on the biscuits as well, but I have a feeling the biscuits might be better going into one of the entrees. But we'll give it a try. Oop, our water's boiling. Let's take care of that tea real quick. Anyway, let's try that biscuit with cherry jam. Yeah, not as good. I think this might go better in one of the entrees. I think the jam is meant to go on this wheat bread. Cheers. All right, that's been about 5 or 6 minutes. This is the pork and potatoes. And now we'll put in the borscht. All right, let's give this tea a try. It's a nice color to it. It's hot. That's a very pleasant tea. It's not too strong. Oh yeah, that's good. Let's try adding a little bit of sugar to it. See what that does. I'm not usually a sugar in the tea kind of person. I like cream in my tea. Cheers. Oh yeah. That sugar goes nicely with it. Like I said, I'm usually not a sugar in the tea kind of person, but this actually tastes really good with sugar in it. I like that. Got some soup. There we go. Let's open up the pork and potatoes, and I've got to say, I'm a little apprehensive, a little scared based on that breakfast entree. There it is. Looks okay. Let's give it a smell. Oh, that smells much better. Okay. That does not smell scary. The spoon broke off. I was trying to stir it a little bit and the spoon broke off. Oh well. Let's pour this out. Pork and potatoes. Yeah, this actually smells good and looks good. So it's a bit of a relief. Now we'll have to see how I feel after I eat it. But on the surface, it looks pretty good. I got some backup silverware just in case. All right. So there she is. Got some sauce, some potatoes, chunks of pork. Let's try the sauce first. Oh yeah. Let's try some potatoes. Oh yeah. It's like a beef stew, just with pork. But it's got the consistency of a stew. Very nice, very savory. Not too overpowering or salty or anything. All right, let's try a piece of pork. Good. Meat's fairly tender. It's like stew meat, you know, not the most tender meat in the world, but enough for stew. Lots of fat. Give you lots of calories there. Yeah. This is delicious. It's too bad they haven't invented smell-o-vision yet. That is really good. Let's wash it down with some tea. Here's that borscht soup. Again, a little apprehensive, especially since the first entree for breakfast was sort of a soup porridge thing. But we'll see how it goes. If I can get this thing open. Alright, so there it is. Give it a whiff. And it smells okay. Get this stirred up. Yeah, it smells okay. All right, let's try to get this in this bowl without making a complete mess of things. Ooh, wow. Kind of looks like the beef stew, just in soup form. Got some chunks of meat in there. Smells pretty good, so let's give it a taste. I'll just taste some of the brothy goodness first. Yeah, it's good. It's different than this stew over here. You know, they kind of look the same. You would think they taste the same. This has a different flavor altogether. Kind of hard to describe it. It's more of like a vegetable-y flavor almost. Let's try it with some meat. Good fatty pieces of meat. Big chunks of potato. Yeah, damn, that's good. All right, now comes the most important part. Are these biscuits gonna go well with these entrees? Let's give it a try. Here it is. Yeah. I've never been a big fan of these sort of hardtack biscuits that they put in these kits. I mean, they're okay. They're just kind of just flavorless. Let's try some of the wheat bread. It's really hard. All of this bread is really hard. Yeah, that goes better. Let's try the soup. Ah, we found the match for the biscuits. It's the soup. They're so flavorless that they really have to be in the soup to soak up all that broth and goodness so that they get some flavor along with the crunch of the bread. So the way I would do this would be to put the biscuits in the soup and then use the wheat bread for the jam and maybe for the stew as well. But I'd probably just go ahead and use it for the jam because the stew is okay on its own. It sort of stands on its own perfectly fine. So I would do the cherry jam on the wheat bread, the biscuits in the soup, and then the stew on its own. But that's just me. My favorite here is this potato and pork stew. This is great. And such a relief after that breakfast entree. Holy cow, that was bad. And it all pairs nicely with the tea. And you know, we've got some salt and pepper over here, but you really don't need it, in my opinion. I mean, these are fine on their own. I don't feel any need to put salt or pepper in either of these. I really like this wheat bread, or rye bread, or whatever they call it. I'm sure it's probably a little better when these things are brand new, but even now it's good. All right, I'll finish this up off camera and then we'll be back in a few hours for the dinner portion. But yeah, the lunch portion was way better than the breakfast portion, in my opinion. All right, so for the dinner portion, we've got a wet nap and then the napkin and spoon. Got some salt, some coffee, some more English breakfast tea, 2 packs of sugar, a pack of honey, chewing gum, wheat bread. Got the biscuits again. Then here we've got a beef stew. And then right here is a barley porridge with pork. Now, we've already cooked some entrees using the FRH and boiling water methods, So the last cooking method listed on here that we haven't used yet is, of course, to cook these in a microwave oven, which, yeah, is a bit boring, but, you know, it's listed on here and we haven't done it yet, so let's give it a try. But before we do that, we'll get some tea going and we'll try some of this bread. There that is. I actually like this better than the darker rye bread that we had earlier. It has a good taste to it. It's dry, but it tastes good. So we'll try some honey on here. Of course, we could also put the honey in the tea, but we've got 2 sugar packets, so I'll do sugar in the tea and honey on the bread. The honey is pretty darn good. There it is. It's kind of cloudy and thick. It's delicious. That is some really good honey. I wonder if it's mixed with something to stabilize it or anything like that. Although honey is pretty stable as is. It really never goes bad. It's kind of got sort of a granular feeling to it. There's a little bit of a grit in there. It's not bad at all. All right, our water's ready. And again, I'm not usually a big sugar in my tea or coffee person, but it actually goes really well with this particular English breakfast tea. I have to imagine it's a natural honey, but of course there's always the possibility that it's some sort of fake honey. But either way, it tastes really good. All right, while this tea's going, we'll take a trip down to the microwave and get those entrees cooked. All right, so here's the beef stew. Ooh, that looks good. It's full of all sorts of fat. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. Boy, I can tell this is gonna be delicious already. This looks like the beef stew that comes with the Belarusian combat ration, which is delicious. And then we've got the barley porridge with pork. Hopefully it'll be better than the breakfast porridge. Oh yeah. That looks nice and fatty as well. It's really thick. Smells pretty good. The beef stew smells better. All right, let's pop these things in the microwave. Girl Scout cookies, anybody? I think my cat wants them. Got them both in there for 2 minutes to start off with, although I'm sure it'll be more. If I had to guess, it's probably gonna be like 4 minutes. Hey, Frisco. All right, let's give the beef stew a try. Oh, that looks delicious. All that fat in there. I've learned over the years that when it comes to these combat rations, if it's nice and fatty, that's always a good thing. It's gonna add a lot of flavor to the meal. And it kind of has the color and the texture of corned beef. So let's give it a try. Oh, wow. Oh, that's good. There's like a bay leaf in here, and it totally gets into the flavor. It's delicious. all that fat and this sort of gravy, juicy stuff. That's good. And then here's our barley porridge with pork. And it kind of looks like stuffing, you know, like Thanksgiving stuffing. Kind of sort of looks like that, but with meat inside of it. So you can see the barley porridge, you can see the pieces of barley, and then you've got these chunks of pork in there. Pretty good sized chunks too. That is delicious as well. Much better than that breakfast porridge. The barley porridge gives it a really nice texture, almost a creamy texture. And at first, it's a little bit bland, and then the flavor kicks in. And the pork is delicious. These are both really good. Now, let's try the old which bread works with what. So there's all this juice in here, which is going to be soaked up by that bread. So let's try that. It's good with the toast. Let's try the biscuits. And we'll put some in here too, although this really doesn't need any bread in there. I don't think it does. Actually, the biscuits aren't bad in the beef stew. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of these Russian style biscuits, but they're okay in the beef stew. They're really bland, so they really have to be in something where it's going to soak up the flavor, and I think it does that to some extent in the beef stew, whereas the toast is good on its own, so I would keep the toast with the honey and crumble up the biscuits in the beef stew if you want to add anything at all. The beef stew is fine just by itself. It doesn't need anything extra. And then the porridge, yeah, let me try this. Yeah, the porridge does not need anything extra either. Unless you want to add hot sauce or something. Probably would be really good with hot sauce. Yeah, you don't need any breadcrumbs or anything in here. The barley does that for you. It's already got a lot of breadiness, if you will, with the barley, so. All right, that was absolutely delicious. The dinner portion was by far my favorite. We got off to a rough start with that breakfast porridge, but everything after that was great. And I think this is a great tasting combat ration. It really is. And even though it's influenced by Russian and Belarusian combat rations, I think it stands on its own, and as I said, it is absolutely delicious. But let me know what you think in the comments below. For now, that's it. I'm Eric Siegel. This is Kit Bashed Survival. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.